All right, let's start up. Hello, everyone. Welcome to my session. I'm going to talk about multiple windows in FileMaker applications, what challenges they bring, especially when you are using global field-based relationships or relations, and offer some solutions that are rather smooth. Let's have a few words about myself. Yeah, 1973. The great thing about the year of birth is that it never changes, unlike your age. So that's my depressive part. I'm in Belgium since 2001. I come from Czech Republic. And my first line of business was industrial printers, integrations, all barcodes, pallet labelers. I configured software for these types of machines. And our primary environment was SQL Server, but it's like really almost 20 years ago. Then I work for ClickWorks since 2013. When it comes to my outside of work life, it's kids. I've got 5 of them, so a lot of fun. And some of my hobbies are fast-pitch softball and popular physics. By that, I mean, like, I'm really interested, but don't ask me to calculate any reasonable stuff. Now, as you have noticed, that's not me, right? Does anyone know what it is? Can anyone raise a hand? No. This is how my colleagues and even clients are going to see me if they do an online call with me. Why is that? Recently, I've started to work with a VR set, right? And this is actually my representation in the environment where I work. Now, it seems not to have to do anything with this session, but let me show you. So, I took a short video for you to see what it actually looks like when I work with my VR set on. So, here I've got a view to my phone screen, right? Then on the far to the left, that's my scripting space, workspace. Up there was the demo file for this presentation I worked on. Here I had my presentation open. And to the right, you can see a blog article that's going to come out that I based this session on. I've got my window to the real world here, so I can see my hands, my keyboard. But when I reach in, my hand becomes virtual. And if I want to, I can easily turn off all the screens, see? And now I'm enjoying my life higher than Katy Perry did. So all is quite good with this. As you can see, this is quite different than just 2 monitors. And that's why I started to worry about how FileMaker behaves if we use multiple screens and multiple windows, right? So, what really is the issue with multiple windows in FileMaker? First of all, we all know FileMaker is a multi-window environment, right? Any user can open up a new window, right? The only way to take this functionality away from the users is to scrap the window menu completely. And that way you lose a lot of handy functionalities like switching between windows, organizing windows, and so on. But I assume most of you know the technique of using global fields on one side of a relationship and displaying the data related to that field in another. The problem is that global fields are file-level storage, right? And what that means also, any data displayed related to a global field is a file-level data and not window-specific data. So let me demonstrate. I'm going to try to get through a series of security checks here Okay. And now let me pull this application in here, and I put it in. So this is my demo application, and yeah, let me navigate to my first layout. So we've got here a screen with client data. It's very simplistic, purely for the intents of the demo. So I'm now on the client 2, and this client has got 3 sales orders, right, in the portal. And if I click on one of these sales orders, I want to see the details. So let's do that. All right. So you see, it's an order with description client 2, sales order 2. Let's open a new window. Voila. Let's bring it in here. So far, so good. Let's navigate to client 3, right? And if I select one of these orders here, the same order details. So right now, I've got in the window that displays data for client 2 and should have shown me this client's sales order. I've got a completely different data, right? So that's an issue, I would argue. Let me switch back to my demonstration. What are some of the traditional solutions? Yeah, of course, I already mentioned removing completely the window menu or staying away from these relationships, from global field-based relationships. Now, I don't like any of these because you're always losing functionality and development freedom. So I happen to come up with a different solution, right? Let's store the keys that we need on the left side of our relationship in global variables, right? And let's store them separately for each window. Yeah. We then will use a calculation, unstored calculation field instead of a global field in the client data, or in the client table, I mean. And this calculation will give us the primary key of the selected order depending on which window is currently active, right? So let's do this again. Yeah. And of course, I'm again here stuck with security checks. Sorry for that. And here's my demo file. Now, this screen is now client form based on global variable, right? So I've got client 3. I can navigate to a different client if I'm get my mouse there. Yeah, let's do that. So client 1, and let's select the first. Or now let's open a new window. Yep, let's set it next to it. And second client, the last order. And you can see the view has remained where we want it, right? And you can even go now here, save something. Yeah, save records, yes. Okay. And it's all saved. So this technique works pretty well in those two windows separately. So let me switch back to my presentation. Well, here is a sample of what the JSON looks like. It's actually very simple. We have what we do. We introduce a global variable named session, right? And we store a lot of data in that session variable. For the purposes of this demonstration, I'll strip it out, and you're going to see only the window data that is required for that. So it's pretty simple to read, I believe. We've had two windows, multi-window app and multi-window app 2. They are for now identified by their name. As I've been told, there's a new function coming that will give you a window UUID, so we can use easily that. And then for each window, it holds the selected order ID, right? Now, just a little detour. We are not using straight JSON functions, right? As you have seen, there was a pretty defined structure. What it comes down to is actually the same set of custom functions. For each node, we are using a custom function that works as a getter and setter at the same time. So we never do direct modifications of those JSON structures. We always rip it up in a set of custom functions. How do they work? So let's say if I want to set the order ID for my window, when I specify a value in this parameter, it will be set. If I call the same function without any value, it will get me the current value for that JSON key. And historically, because this structure you have seen before could get pretty much bloated, we were kind of concerned about performance, so we introduced ZK null value. When passed, it removes the node. So this is pretty much actually all the functionalities is in this function, and all the others do are just calling the parent function with adding their piece to the tree structure. Sorry about that. And ZK null will be, so the JSON factory supports get, set, delete, just like that. All right. So that's a little explanation to what it is. And this is how our custom, the unstored calculation field is defined. Just a call to the function that will return the ID for that specific window. Now, the naming convention, you see hashtag behind the window. It's kind of just an indicator that the first parameter is specifier for the window. If it's empty, get current window name, window name is used, right? So we kind of try to follow the logic you get with FileMaker functions as well. Here is the relationship. The first one is to the sales order portal you have seen on those layouts, and the second one points to the data selected in that portal and stored in the session global variable. And now, a little bit the disclaimer. The technique that I have just used here is not documented, right? It works most of the time, but I have to say that we've had some more complicated data structures where it failed us. But in simple and basic situations, this technique works and delivers what we want it to deliver. So that was pretty much my short presentation. Are there any questions? Yes.
When has it failed?
Sorry?
When has it failed?
When we used data on a third level of relationship, third grade relationship. When we had the table, the layout was based on, then we had related data, and that one contained the global field. And we wanted to go further, not the global field, but the unstored calculation. So in that case, it didn't work properly. And this is kind of a known not a problem, but it's a design choice for FileMaker. You get a lot of stuff not working exactly as you expected if you go 3 levels deep from your relationship. I mean, the most solid data display is master detail, 2 levels. Any other questions? All right, thank you very much then. I hope this will help you in designing better multi-window applications.